consumers are way smarter than we give them credit for. Everybody every year is aware of more marketing that's just put in their face everywhere they go. They tune it out. So if you could connect with them on more of a trust level, it makes all the difference. At the Desire Company, at the end of the day, who we serve is the shopper, right? We connect brands with experts to help shoppers make more informed purchase decisions. But in doing so, we really empower brands and retailers with expert-driven, science-backed product videos that are designed to build that shopper trust, and it drives measurable sales. So we are integrated into some of the largest retail media networks. We work with some of the largest brands and startup brands and new products launching, and we connect them with experts. We help consumers understand the function of the product, who it's recommended for, how to use it, how to get the best results. And then those videos are integrated all throughout the shopper journey with a big focus on the point of sale. Whether that's CTV, whether that's the PDP, we've created a new type of ad unit using existing real estate on retailers' websites to create a better connection with the shopper. Throughout my entire career, it's really been about connecting extremely unique, special, valuable talent with brands to create a better connection, emotional and reliable connection with the consumer. So in the music industry, I created what became the largest community in the world of independent musicians pre-cleared for commercial use. We became the largest provider to Disney, McDonald's, HBO, Viacom, CBS, Coca-Cola. I sold part of that company to Coca-Cola. We did the activations at the Olympics, the World Cup, all of their commercials around the world. And then when I exited that, I had a non-compete in music, and I realized that it wasn't just musicians that I had this interesting connection to. It was all the people behind the world's most famous musicians. So we started the Desire Company with Beyonce's team, Rihanna's team, Pink's team, Pharrell's team. But instead of Beyonce, it's Beyonce's esthetician, her chef, her nutritionist, her dietitian, her trainer, her lead choreographer, her producers. And we pair those experts with brands to talk about a product function in a very unique way that only a sophisticated expert can speak to. So the switch between the music industry and going into retail, it was very minimal from the type of people, from the perspective of the type of people that we were working with, but the output and how we work with brands and retailers, that was quite a learning, and surprisingly learning how valuable it's been to some of these brands and retailers. I feel that the gap that's been in retail has been the onus of education for a product has been on the consumer. And there hasn't been enough education provided by the brands or retailers about a product, how to use it, why someone should buy it, what are the results that you could expect, who it's recommended for. And that's why you see bounce rates have been so high. That's why you see people go to a website, they're interested in a product, there's not enough information on the PDP, they leave and they start doing their own third-party independent research. They want to hear from third-party experts. And then that journey becomes something totally unintended, and they start finding competitive products or other products that might solve their needs better, or different prices on different websites. So being able to put the education directly on the PDP has made an incredible difference. So that was the initial gap. And instead of working with influencers are great at driving awareness, driving traffic, but they serve a very different purpose in the funnel of the type of content that's needed for conversion at a scalable, sustainable level. And that's where experts come in. So when we work with these experts, they work in parallel with all of the other marketing activities, but they provide something very different, which is a lean in. I want to be educated on this product. I'm aware of it. I'm curious. And we turn the curiosity into a desire, and that desire becomes conversion. The distinction between experts and influencers is everything that we're based on. It's at the core of what we believe. I believe that experts are the ones who have dedicated their life to learning and becoming the best in a particular niche area. And whether it's an Olympic athlete, which we represent, or it's NASA astronauts, or it's veterinarians, or whoever it might be, it's somebody who has trained their entire life to be the best, and they've risen to the top and they've become the best. And in doing so, on their journey, they've tried every product under the sun to be better. And so when they talk about a product or they test a new product, they come from such an educated place versus an influencer who is a content producer. Nothing wrong with them, but they serve a very different function. They serve the function of entertainment. So people are very well aware that influencers need to take money from brands to be able to provide consistent entertainment so that they don't have to work a real job and they're always able to be filming themselves and sharing it with their audience. That's fine. But when they talk about a product, it doesn't come from an authentic place. And when you hear it from an expert, it is a totally different emotional connection. The conversions go up to 12x is what we see. Depending on the type of product, but it does convert up to 12x. We see a consistent 300% increase in purchase confidence when somebody watches one of our videos with our third-party watermark on it from an expert explaining who the expert is. Increase in purchase confidence goes up 300%. Average order value goes up 25%. Time on site goes up 62%. So that bounce rate goes way down and the conversions go through the roof. So you see a massive difference in the use case of an influencer versus an expert, especially on a PDP, because the type of content that performs well on social is not the same type of content that performs well at the point of purchase. And what I mean by that is I think about content on retailers' websites in a similar way that people thought about content for social media 10, 15 years ago. And brands would say, okay, social, fine, I already have content for television. I have a television commercial, just run that. And you can't. Although you're speaking to the same demographic, they're in a totally different mind state. And so the content that they watch on a television commercial has to be very different than the content that they see that's going to engage them while they're on their mobile. And the content that goes on PDP cannot just be repurposed social content because that's meant for entertainment and awareness. So when it's on the PDP, it doesn't make much sense and it doesn't really work and it actually drives people away from the page. When you put an expert piece of content that explains the product in detail on the page, that's what people need psychologically at that point. And that's why those conversions go up when people use the Desire Company. When brand shifts from influencers to expert content, we have seen a consistent 300% increase in purchase confidence. We see a 62% increase of time on site. So that's people who are getting the content, the education that they need directly at the point of sale, staying on the site. We see up to a 12x conversion multiple. So people are converting a lot faster, a lot more. And that's because they're also spending 62% more time on site. So when you're giving them the content that they need about the product, they're staying on your site and they're purchasing faster. And the average order value also goes up 25%. But the trust is the most critical thing. Everything that we do is neuroscience backed. It was all built on the science, the psychology of how consumers shop. So everything is consistent and measurable, which is what's led to a lot of our success. We have a formula based entirely on neuroscience. So we really hook people up, and we do galvanic skin testing. We do neuroscience testing. We see where people are looking, what they need to see in content to actually feel confident in making a purchase. So the fact that everything is based on our proprietary production formula. We know when to show the expert, when to show the product, when to show the product in use, when to show the final that you're going to get out of the product, the final results that you get from using one of these products, whether it's food and baking or a hairstyle or a battery charger, whatever it might be. We know when to show the right results. We know when to show the expert. And it's all based on a proprietary formula that we've created through neuroscience and galvanic skin testing. So it's repeatable, it's scalable, and it works. We provide different types of content throughout the shopper journey. So if you see something on CTV, it's still that awareness content. You know, the thing is, everybody's like, oh, you need content. You need content for CTV. You need content on your PDP. That's like saying you need marketing. It has to get way more specific. What is the type of content and where will it show? If it's on social, it has to be very different than CTV. If it's on CTV, it has to be very different than a post-purchase email. So we break down the different types of content throughout the funnel, again, based on neuroscience and what consumers need at that point. And we deliver the right type of content to get somebody to click through, scan a QR code on CTV, click on a meta ad and take you to the PDP. At the PDP, we're providing the right type of educational content, educational product content to make the conversions happen. And then post-purchase, through email, text, all types of follow-ups, we're delivering content showing people how to use the product properly, and that reduces returns. So based on this proprietary formula that we've developed over the years, we're able to deliver the right type of content at every stage to increase trust, increase conversions, and lower returns. Again, it's based on our proprietary production process. So we're filming every single day. We have things really locked in. When a brand raises their hand and says, yes, I want this, I want a package, and we will deliver the first content in 48 hours, which is more of a first look unboxing. If they want that type of awareness content that they could start using, the final deliverable comes within 4 weeks, and that's being used on as television commercials. It's being used on CTV. We're delivering the content specifically for the PDP, for the post-purchase. So you're getting a content bundle, a ton of different marketing assets when you engage with us, and you get your first content within 48 hours and you get your final content within 4 weeks. And that's just because we have this process so nailed down, filming every single day. Our biggest studio is in Chicago, but we film everywhere, anywhere where our experts are. We're on farms in Kansas and streams in Montana, wherever the experts are, that's where we're filming. So we're able to really be efficient with our production. We have a matching process. First and foremost, it's AI powered, but we have an expert team which is analyzing who our algorithms are recommending for the particular brands. So a brand raises their hand, they say, I want to work with the Desire company. We are going to send over a number of different experts that we recommend. A lot of them are surprise and delight. For instance, we had a eye drop company come to us, medical company, and they said they needed optometrists. We gave them optometrists, but we also recommended using a NASCAR driver and a professional gamer. The reason is because NASCAR drivers and gamers are taught not to blink. So they all have dry eye and they all need these drops. So getting that perspective is very, very interesting for the consumer, especially followed or when it's led by the white lab coat optometrist. So brand raises their hand, we match them with an expert, we send over our recommendations, they pick it, they send the product. and we get going. So the expert knows when they've received the product. We get on, we do our virtual recording, somewhat like this. First impressions, unboxing. They then have 2 weeks to test the products. We bring them into the studio and we do a ton of pre-production before bringing them in. We bring them in, film it, post-production, delivery within 4 weeks. And again, when you're getting the content, it's broken down for every point of that consumer journey, from social and CTV to PDP, email, post-purchase, banner ads, everything of that nature. Hundreds of assets from one shoot. The FTC compliance is the backbone of the business. It's all about not misleading the consumer, just being honest. A lot of brands get scared that if the consumer knows that there's a monetary relationship between the person reviewing the product and the brand, that consumers are going to be turned off by it. But we take the opposite approach. We are just totally transparent. We have a watermark that says real experts paid to be honest. And we've seen that drive that 300% increase in purchase confidence. So much so that people are now, when you see the seal, it's real. They're looking for our seal. You see our content across Target, Walmart, Sam's Club, Best Buy, Amazon, Tractor Supply, Albertsons. So our content is being used with our watermark with the same formula across retailers. So consumers are now looking for it. And we worked with the leading lawyer from the FTC or the most cited lawyer from the new FTC rules and regulations. And he helped us develop all the protocols that we need to stay FTC compliant. And what we found is it actually helps us gain that trust with the consumer. The number one thing the FTC doesn't allow is you cannot mislead the consumer. When you have an influencer endorsement that's not transparent, when you have fake ratings and reviews, that's where you get dinged, and rightfully so, because you're misleading the consumer and it creates a frustrating situation for everybody. When you are just transparent, that is what the consumer wants at the end of the day. And we're seeing the more transparent we are, a higher increase in sales and a decrease in returns as well. Be honest. That's the number one thing is consumers are way smarter than we give them credit for. Everybody every year is aware of more marketing that's just put in their face everywhere they go. They tune it out. So if you could connect with them on more of a trust level, it makes all the difference. And where you're going to connect with them on a trust level is just by being transparent. We gave this product to this expert. They've been using it for the last 3 weeks. Here's their thoughts on it. And it goes such a long way. So instead of being scared that consumers are going to be turned off if they know there's a monetary relationship and trying to bury that, the more transparent you can be about it, the more successful you're going to have with those relationships. Our entire proprietary production process is based on this neuroscience, galvanic skin testing, and what it comes down to is an expert showing how to use the product, what are the results that you could expect, what is it supposed to do, who's it recommended for, and why do they like it. And having a formula that really, shows the product in use, shows the end results of the product, has the expert talking about it. The science aspect of it has allowed us to figure out when to show the face of the expert, put their credentials on screen, have them talk about themselves versus talking about the function of the product or who it's recommended for, how much time on site. All of that has come into play with creating the science-backed storytelling, which is outperforming any other content in the market right now. People don't have a lot of fun shopping anymore. It creates a lot of anxiety because you don't know what to trust. You see a product that has 1-star reviews and 5-star reviews. Most likely the 1-star and 5 stars are fake. So it takes people a lot longer to make a purchase decision. They're bouncing around to a lot of different sites. They're looking for third-party expert, unbiased um, advice, reviews, recommendations, and that's where the Desire company comes in. So being able to offer those clear explanations, the demonstrations, it helps people make faster decisions and say, yes, this is the product that I want. And I understand how to use it, and I'm not going to return it. So we reduce purchase anxiety and we increase confidence, and the purchases go way up. We have very flexible pricing. We want to be able to work with brands of all sizes. When we work through the retailers, we work through their retail media network, so they're offering our solution to all of the different brands that they carry. However, if a brand can't afford to work through an RMN or have those marketing budgets for each retailer, they're able to come with us. We provide them very flexible pricing, and then we are able to help them distribute the content to all the different retailers. So some of the smaller brands, they'll come to us initially when they're just on Amazon or their own site or Shopify. And then they say, okay, we got picked up by Target, we got picked up by Nordstrom, we got picked up by Best Buy, and we're able to help them distribute the content to each one of the different retailers. So it's a flexible content solution. The really exciting thing about what we do is no matter what your product is, we're able to find a really unique expert to talk about it that's going to connect with the consumer in a very different way, from dentists to, right now we're doing videos this week for horse vitamins, chicken coops, all types of different interesting things, work boots. So from home improvement to, stuff that we do for Tractor Supply, to stuff that we're doing for new toothbrushes and flossing machines. And it doesn't matter what your product is. I just watched something go live on Sam's Club for M&Ms. And M&Ms, you would think, who needs an expert to tell you what an M&M is? But if you watch these videos and our expert baker shows how to use M&Ms in so many different scenarios and making really cool bars, protein bars, or cookie cakes, or whatever it is, being able to tap into our expert community to talk about your product in a very exciting, authentic, emotional way makes a big difference. Yeah, we overperform with trust in every segment. When it comes to those massive jumps in conversion, up to a 12x, where you're going to see those are on a new product that's just launching, and it's been out for a little bit, doesn't have the right type of content. You provide that expert content that explains how to use it, why somebody likes it. You're going to see the conversions go up through the roof. Truthfully, anything that needs a little bit more explanation, anything with a plug or an on-off switch, anything with health and wellness, beauty and grooming, fitness, where you really want to hear from an expert how to use the product, why they like it over something else, or how long they've been using it, that's where you're going to see the biggest impact. It's all about that trust and education, but it works truly across category. I would say the electronics, anything new, anything with a switch, anything that somebody's going to ingest into their body, be it vitamins or food, anything that people are going to work out with, they need to know how to use it, why the expert is recommending it, the results that they could expect. So across category, but new products, old school stagnant products. As an example of that, we did some great work with Sun-In, which is the old school from the 70s hair lightening spray. And it had a really bad rep on TikTok. And we got some professional colorists, salon owners, different people to talk about Sun In. And what they said is, look, it's not for everybody, but if this is the type of hair you have and these are the results that you want, this is how to use it. This is why I recommend it. And the conversion goes up. So again, it could be something like a hairspray like Sun In to vitamins to eye drops, a new food processor. It really doesn't matter as long as it's not an impulse buy and it needs that extra lean in education. Yeah, every week we're launching new partnerships with brands, with retailers. We're always expanding our expert community. The thing that I am most excited about right now is our technological advancements. So we've invested a lot in some of our AI solutions, and we will never replace our experts with AI. I believe you always have to start with start with the real world experience from an expert, but then we are using AI to amplify that content, to create different types of content, to pull out the right type of still images from our videos to be used as thumbnails in all different types of advertising and marketing materials. So for me, the future is really about evolving our retail partnerships and our RMN partnerships, but with our AI platform, so that you could get one video created, but it turns into hundreds of marketing assets that could be used throughout the year, throughout the funnel. Retail media, obviously explosive in some ways, lagging in others. The fact that we've gone from like 3 RMNs to 200 plus in the US. I think this is a period of time now. This is a real shift in the industry. This is not a fad. This is not a trend. This is a true shift in the industry, but not all players are going to be able to sustain. And what I mean by that is some of the smaller grocers or some of the smaller retailers who have created their own RMNs, I think they're going to have to figure out how to consolidate some of their sales efforts to all of the different brands. And we have been positioning ourselves where we are a resource that could work directly with the brand and then help amplify their content across the different retailers, cutting all the different retailers in on it so that they don't have to go out and sell to all the CPGs. The CPGs could work directly with us, but we have a way to still work through the RMNs at all of the different retailers when it comes to the distribution of that content. So I think we're going to be seeing some exciting platforms develop that don't exist today, and they will within 2 years, to help manage the explosion growth. And then what will come is somewhat of a consolidation or a shrinkage of the RMN industry. And that will create some runaway leaders in the space. And then I think there will be a level below where it's a bunch of the retailers working together. And we have been positioning ourselves well to be both a partner to both the runaway breakthrough RMNs, as well as the ones in the middle that are looking to increase their revenue, but decrease all of the effort and human capital that they're currently putting into their RMN experiences. Hit us up, thedesirecompany.com, Eric Sheinkop, or linkedin.com/Eric Sheinkop, Eric at thedesirecompany.com. Would love to connect with any brands, always expanding our expert community, and obviously retailers. We are here for you with dedicated teams.